In Africa, we need this breed of leaders dedicated to the service to their nation. In any case, the results are very alarming. Part of the population still lives in antiquity. The future of Africa does not depend on the election of a great Western magnanimous leader who will save the Black Continent. A zero-sum games where Africa lost in most cases. Those who led Africa have failed to do the work necessary for the development of our continent. We are still hanging around, and few African countries really emerge. The stakes are enormous, and the challenges are overwhelming. Given the history of Africa, it is incomprehensible to hear Africans and their leaders give themselves many excuses for the reasons which explain the very poor performance after 64 years of independence. It is more serious to assume and take all the responsibilities in hand and break all the strings of dependence, which in certain cases can even recall the dark periods of the history of Africa. Africans, it is big time to really getting to work and being substantial in relation to what we all can do for Africa. Black Lives Matter. It's just... But, for the other respects you have to respect yourself. 1. Reforms of justice. These include states the means to establish firm and fair justice to fight corruption and impunity. There is corruption in a country because the judicial system is defaulting. Strengthen, if necessary, the position of justice professionals and improve it. When guilty of corruption, sanction them with all the rigor of the law. 2. Communication reforms. Communication is essential for security and economic and social development. If the 54 African states could afford a satellite to ensure their communication in orbit, a very large catalyst to defeat technological, financial, security challenges, etc. In any case, of serious investments must be accomplished to make up for the delay. 3. Reforms of education. In Africa, it is of public notoriety that the basements are garnished with mining riches. But we have always looked for specialists abroad. From now on, let us have an educational strategy that would allow us to train our specialists in Africa by allowing foreign specialists stationed in mines and industries to teach their specialties in universities and higher schools in the region. 4. The promotion of entrepreneurship. With a partial time and a full-time, entrepreneurship must be stimulated and encouraged by attractive taxation and subsidies to startups. The multiplication of successful companies will increase state revenues and the wealth of the country. Companies that know and excel in innovation often become leader in their sector and very often essential in their ecosystem. 5. A great pillar of industrialization. Energy is prior to any industrialization. It turns out that in Africa there is uranium. African countries must seek to have reactors and use the abundance of the sun to increase the energy production capacity, which will facilitate the creation of factories and allow the development of the manufacturing sector. The subsoil of Africa is full of a large quantity of minerals and raw materials necessary for the manufacture of objects whose modern world will no longer be able to do without it. African countries must get involved, each in what is concerning them, being responsible for the operations of all their wealth, from raw material to the end product, creating value for the country. The path from Africa to sustainable industrialization and inclusive development consists to exploit its abundant resources, to promote innovation, and to create an empowering environment so that companies of all sizes thrive. By taking advantage of strategic partnerships, by investing in infrastructure and nourishing a skilled workforce, African countries can build a robust industrial sector which benefits not only the economy, but also to the people. Sustainable industrialization in Africa can create jobs, stimulate economic growth, and allow communities to lead a better quality of life. Working together towards a shared vision of prosperity, Africa can unlock its full potential and build a future where industrialization works for each African. The realization of sustainable industrialization in Africa requires a multiple approach which prioritizes inclusive growth, technological progress, and solid institutional frameworks. By taking advantage of the wealthy resources of the continent, by investing in infrastructure, promoting entrepreneurship, and promoting innovation, African nations can establish a robust industrial basis, which benefits all segments of the societal environment. Thanks to strategic political interventions, partnerships with the private sector, and the accent on skills development, Africa can create an environment conducive to industrial growth, which generates employment opportunities, stimulates economic transformation, and improves the quality of life of all its citizens. This thesis aims to explore the main strategies and challenges linked to the development of industrialization in Africa, which is really inclusive and beneficial for each African.